To 20 TV. Today we are diving into the groundbreaking and controversial development in the Russia-Ukraine war. For the first time, Ukraine forces have used British-supplied Storm Shadow cruise missiles to strike military targets inside Russia. As the 1,000-day conflict evolves, this move signals a new and potential dangerous phase in the war. But why now? What does this escalation mean for the broader conflict, and how are Western nations reacting? Stay tuned as we break down the facts, analyze the implications, and explore what might come next. To understand the significance of these strikes, let us first look at what led to this decision. The UK's approval for Ukraine to use Storm Shadow to use the Storm Shadow missiles against targets inside Russia reportedly came in response to Moscow's deployment of North Korean troops. This move, according to Western officials, was viewed as a serious escalation by Russia, pushing the UK to give Ukraine the green light to expand its use of long-range Western weaponry. But what exactly are Storm Shadow missiles? These are advanced precision-guided cruise missiles with a range of over 250 kilometers or about 155 miles. They are designed to strike high-value targets with pinpoint accuracy, even heavily defended areas. This is a game changer for Ukraine. Ukrainian forces reportedly targeted key military installations deep inside Russian territory. While specific details remain classified, these strikes likely aimed at disrupting Russia's logistic command centers or even munitions depots. The use of long-range missiles like Storm Shadow reflects Ukraine's evolving strategy. No longer limited to defending its own territory, Kiev is now taking the fight closer to Moscow's doorsteps. Let's also discuss the immediate consequences. Russia has condemned the strikes as a provocation, while Ukrainian officials have remained tight-lipped, sticking to their policy of strategic ambiguity. Why did the UK approve such a bold move? According to sources, British officials viewed the deployment of North Korean troops by Russia as a tipping point. This act was perceived as a sign that Moscow is willing to widen its circles of allies no matter the cost. The decision to allow the use of Storm Shadow missiles was not taken lightly. The UK has consistently supported Ukraine, providing billions in military aid. However, by allowing these missiles to target locations inside Russia, Britain has crossed a significant line, raising questions about how far the West is willing to go. This also highlights a broader issue: the potential for escalation. Could this lead to direct confrontation between NATO and Russia? We'll explore that in our next segment. The big question is, where does this lead? Strikes inside Russian territory, a major escalation, and the Kremlin has already vowed retaliation. While Ukraine has every right to defend itself, the use of Western-provided weapons for cross-border attacks raises the stakes dramatically. There is also the risk of miscalculation. Could Russia interpret these actions as direct involvement by NATO, thereby dragging the alliance into the war, or will this push Moscow to intensify its own strikes, potentially using even more devastating weapons? It is a delicate balance. The West must support Ukraine without triggering a larger conflict, a challenge that becomes increasingly difficult as the war drags on. So, what happens next? First, we can expect Russia to respond possibly with intensified airstrikes or cyber attacks. Meanwhile, Ukraine will likely continue using its newfound long-range capabilities to weaken Russian war machine. Second, this development will put pressure on other Western nations. If the UK is allowing Ukraine to strike inside Russia, will the US or EU follow suit with a similar approvals, or will they push back to avoid escalation? And finally, this could change the trajectory of the war itself. As Ukraine gains more advanced weaponry, the conflict could shift into a prolonged war of attrition, with both sides ramping up their efforts. To wrap up, the use of Storm Shadow missiles by Ukrainian forces inside Russia marks a turning point in the conflict. It is a bold move that reflects Ukraine's resilience and the West's growing support. But it also raises critical questions about the risks of escalation and the future of this war. Will this bring us closer to peace or push the world further into instability? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth analysis of global conflicts. Thank you for watching global views of this video, and we'll see you next in another video.